All right. Back with the boys and a new boy on the pod. And as usual, brought to you by All Things Health Tracker, soon to be on the App Store. Still working out kinks, but it's there. Um, anyways, what's up, dude? Jacked and lean.
Yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good.
Ugh.
So you are Joe's friend. What's
Yes,
your name?
sir. My name is Jack.
Jack.
So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so Jacked and Lean. So I'm Jack. My wife's Eileen. Jacked and Lean, name of our coaching business, name of our gym,
Oh,
where Joe
that's what's
also
up.
works out. Yeah,
I do. I terrorize there by screaming too loud.
yeah. But you give my machines a good workout, and I appreciate it.
Hey, I haven't broken anything yet, and I can't say about that other people.
Yeah,
No
that's true.
bands have broken. The pins on the hack squat all work.
You tried your best, though.
I have broken a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I see him putting like odd numbers on the hack squat, like 4 plates on one side, five on the other, or whatever.
Jack's the one who taught me that. Thank you very much.
My OCD brain is just like, no.
That's how I feel when I watch him put a gym pin on with 3 plates and I see the whole stack just start to tip. I'm like, oh.
Only one plate, thank you very much. And I started putting a clip on it because it fell off the first week on the
And
adductions.
then you messed up my wall behind my pec fly.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Um, so hey, real quick, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about people using gym pins whenever those machines are meant to be like that's typically the max weight that you want it to be, and any more, it's just going to cause the owner of the gym to probably end up fixing it more often.
The gym owner side of me says yes, adhere to what the machine is built to adhere to. The bro and lifter in me says send it because they can handle more than they're, rated for, right? Like those belts can handle often way more than what the stack is, but you gotta be careful. I have two answers there.
How often do you have to like repair your stuff because of that?
Honestly, we've broken probably 3 or 4 belts in the last like year and a half. So not horrible. Not horrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I assume it's your machines that you're picking though, because you're probably picking better quality versus like I see people using those things in the commercial gyms, and there's everything's always broken.
I'm not picking slot machines, and my people are pretty respectful. Joe toes the line, but he's still on the respectful side.
I don't bang anything around anymore.
No, 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 you
I try
got
to keep
way
it to
better.
one plate on anything. And it's really only on the toe press, the adductors, and the pec fly, and that's it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's my
So
coach. That's my kind of team coaching page there, and I have a personal one is there as well.
gotcha.
Yeah.
What is this? Nope, I don't know what that is. Okay, that's threads. I'm not on the thread stuff. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so
So
we
how
kind
long
of
have?
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah. So Jack, we do take a very comprehensive, integrated approach to lifestyle and bodybuilding. Physique enhancement, the whole health side. Or you said health tracker, like we're big on metrics and tackle everything basically internally, externally that you want to accomplish. So we're problem solvers.
Yeah, I feel like that's how we all are. We're all a little bit autistic.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you see some of my Excel spreadsheets for work, people
Is
definitely call me
is
autistic.
there a peptide for that we can take to be less or more?
Less autistic.
More.
Which one's for more? I have it right here.
Yeah. Get some dihexa in there.
A little bit of
Exactly.
modafinil,
Oh yeah, doctors.
Throwing some trend and stuff, then you get like those
allegedly.
autistic kids that just like freak out when you touch them.
Hmm.
Um, cool, man.
Uh,
So the Italy Pro, I've been off social media for a little bit. So Italy Pro it just ended, you said?
I think just a few hours ago, because those Europe shows, they do prejudging and finals really close together. I was
Okay.
just seeing some of the pictures that I was doing some meal prep, and it looks like Ali Edwards. I think, it's his second year really competing. He won the show, beating Bonac and Jordan Hutchinson.
All right. Yeah,
Said
that
that they
dude's
were
super
banning
impressive.
anyone from
Impressive.
going
Yeah.
in there.
Okay,
He's
here
got
we go.
crazy. He's got crazy arms.
His lats were wild.
Yeah.
It's like fuzzy pictures. I don't care about that. Let's see if we can find some individuals. So
Yeah, dude,
Bonac took second.
Mhm.
Okay. So did you guys watch the show or did they not air it or
I think they had a stream, but then they were banning anyone from like AJ couldn't post anything from it from the stream. You couldn't do screenshots. No one in the amphitheater was allowed to be filming, so they were pretty locked down about it apparently. But
I don't
if you try and get like a front double from all of them, it's really kind of showing. Ali
okay.
was just so bubbly there, and Bonac looked a little bit down there. He's Bonac's center left, people who don't know.
Yeah.
And then Jordan Hutchinson's on the far left. He was big, but his waist was not very well controlled. And so his bit of a smaller back really accentuated that larger waist. So they moved him down to third place.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on the waist. I'll say Ollie's legs don't have the kind of the lines though that I would hope from separation, but you're right. He's definitely bubbly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Just when you
these are
see a
pictures too,
headshot
man.
from
You
it.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Obviously, we're not in person and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So whenever I see Ali, I just look at his traps, and I'm not sure if it's just his head's really close to his body because he has a short neck, but it just looks like thick. They like that is a man who needs like a 40 pressure on his CPAP.
Dude, it kind of looks AI put on there. Like it looks like it's not meant to be on there.
Uh,
Especially since
Um,
everyone's looking straight ahead. It just looks a little extra pasted on.
yeah.
uh,
Um, it's crazy that Jordan's stomach was more distant. You said it was distended, wider,
mm.
which is
In all of
odd.
his
I mean,
front
having
shots, it was a
Chris.
big problem.
So I and how long was he? How long has he been over there in Europe?
I don't think for too long. I know he's going to be doing Portugal next week, and then I think the rest of the shows before the Olympia All American, he'll be back in the States for that. So
Yeah.
hopefully he'll be better next week. I know that he and Chris have been trialing loading on like a lot of McDonald's and kind of some crap food, and they liked the look afterwards. So maybe they tried doing that with like a different burger place, or maybe just European McDonald's didn't sit well in Jordan's stomach.
Or maybe
I
it
don't
That's
was
know
too
because
good.
it was too healthy, right?
yeah,
It's too clean. There's no arachidonic acid in there.
Yeah.
Is that Dave Palumbo? Um, dude, yeah, that guy is a freak though. Um,
absolutely, yeah.
in this side shot, like there's like no gap.
Mhm.
Like I don't see like any lower distension. They do a pretty good job um hiding it. Shoulders are kind of I don't know if that's a split. Like is that or is that like a shadow?
That
I don't
first
know.
most muscular show, man, his arms look crazy and they look crazy there too.
Yeah.
I still can't get over the arms.
Freaking nuts looking. Where's he from? Is he Dubai
I
or
want to say Iran because I don't know for certain, but I thought I saw just people who collaborate with him because he just reposts all of those. I saw one that I think it was like Pride of Iran showed him. I mean, I know they're big on bodybuilding in general, and they were just reposting, but that makes me
yeah.
think he may be Iranian.
Yeah. What do you think about Jordan doing this side shot? Didn't Tyler said that this is okay, right?
They want to see the real side try first, and then you can transition to that, is what they've been saying. I think it looks good on him, but it's
Right.
also hiding his weakness there, which I'm sure is the intention. But if he
Yeah.
has to hit the regular one first, I think it would kind of show what the issue there.
Can we just highlight Bonac's calves? Like, bro.
What is with some dudes and calves? I don't understand the obsession for some people.
Like, where do these genetics come from? I mean, they're not like they're a little bit lower inserted. I don't know. Back.
If you want to see
It's
some
so
real
hard to
calves,
see.
look at Seth Feroce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. You see that picture posted up the other day?
Yep.
Yeah. I
That
think
looked disgusting.
he called it an undescended ball sack or something.
It's like
Uh,
Jeff Long. Jeff Long has the pretty good ones still.
yeah.
Like guitar strings, man. These pictures really suck. Uh,
These aren't great.
no, they're not.
His quad looks kind of
Really,
AI right there. All these quad looks kind of AI. That's nuts.
No, I mean, Alan does look like the kind of guy who, if he didn't compete, you would think he's just an AI generated image.
Hmm.
Because
yeah.
it's so bubbly, but then there's these weird parts. So,
I'd like to see him in motion. I wonder what he'd look like moving through poses. That'd be cool.
I wish they would show some videos. Where's this guy?
things that they
Uh,
banned any photographers other than probably
Yeah.
their approved ones.
Come on. There we go. Um, yeah, I don't even know if he does any.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Golly, look at that.
Just while we're talking updates, did you see Ken's update?
Look at those traps,
No.
bro. What the hell? Dude,
I told you he got a
he
big
looks like
neck.
a minotaur, bro. Like I don't know, some like mythic creature has those types of traps. That's insane.
Like I want to like put my fist right in there and see how deep.
That
Golly,
sounds
dude.
very strange out of context. Don't really
It does.
No, I think exactly he meant it.
uh,
uh, that dude is crazy.
mm,
It like if Rubiel can get that peeled, I wonder. I would like to see them two standing next to each other. Golly, that trap.
who do you think has a bigger neck, him or Rubiel?
Probably Rubio.
I don't know. I mean, if he gets diced, maybe he loses some of like that neck fat or something. I have no idea.
I think he'll never get diced.
I don't, dude, I don't know how sometimes people just don't adhere to like the plan. It it baffles me. Um,
Mm.
Especially because I mean, like obviously some people have a harder time getting in shape than others, but it's still like these guys are at a high enough level, enough shit. I don't know how you don't come in diced, you know?
Especially all the peptides out there now. I feel like
Insane.
getting in shape is one of the easier parts of bodybuilding. Not that it's easy, but training, you got to show up. But if you take enough anabolics, you're going to put on some size, at least for a few years.
yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
so that's
You see
that's still
natural guys.
hard.
You see natural guys get absolutely peeled. So like anyone can get peeled. The size
Mhm.
is the prize, right? Like that's the hard part.
yeah, I feel like this it's like been debated and talked about so much. I'm always like I've heard this so many times, it's just like you have to get the size, the fullness is the judges are looking for fullness. You don't want to like lose your fullness, and so you like overfeed or you get scared of losing muscle tissue. But yeah, I mean, even Samson. I think when Samson came into the Olympia flat and kind of emaciated for what he usually comes in as, I think he needs that. I think he needs that a couple of times. And I think, just my theory of physiology, I feel like it trains your body and your fat cells and your muscles, mitochondrial, to like know what to do in a circumstance whenever it's put back in that situation. But I do think that that stuff thins the skin. It just depletes that collagen. Because I feel like the older you get, yeah, your collagen may be depleted, but not likely as much as we think. But I think you have to get lean, like peeled, and then build back up, but not overweight, and then peel down again. And you have to go back and forth, and then you just become a freak, and you're like Nick Walker, to where you're just freaking walking around like that, or like Dallas McCarver. They were
Mm.
just nutty. But these dudes don't get peeled enough because they're afraid to go flat. And yeah, I think Samson's going to be
Black kills
a
fat.
freak,
So
dude. Dude, I think Samson's going to be a freak, man. This Olympia.
I mean, I saw some of, and we also some of those updates. I don't know what he was topping out at walking around in the off season, but nuts with decent conditioning.
Yeah.
I think he's like wasn't it like 350 or something.
Yeah, I think it was like 353 was the highest he
That's
got with
just
memory serves.
insane, dude. Like, I saw one photo, like just, I mean, doorways like literally can't handle that guy anymore.
What? Where's his newest? Oh, those are.
That's
So
the one
that's
that
his
I saw
newest
that was just
one.
shocking to me. I feel like the legs need a little bit more there, but he's just, it looks like he's inflated balloons under his skin in the shoulders and the arms.
Hmm.
Dude, seeing him work out and posing and stuff in Destination, he
Mm,
is crazy looking. And again, the more dense, the more he diets down, the like that density pops out, he will be a freak. Like imagine if he had
mm.
time just to dedicate only to bodybuilding.
I saw this video. I thought that looked pretty crazy.
Yeah. Dude, he's intense, like freaking in the gym, man. Like I've been
Oh yeah.
around like Nick Walker and stuff in the gym, and Nick's yeah, he's it's crazy to watch work out, but homeboy right here, man, he's like he gets like you're freaking blowing up a balloon, and you're like, when is this dude gonna pop?
Hmm.
But
Joe, I managed
yeah,
to get that ISO Mega Mass row in my gym too.
I think really Megamath just makes so many good pieces. I
Everyone's
know
videos.
this isn't you, but if you had to outfit an entire gym in just one brand, I think you could choose a lot worse ones than Megamass.
Dude, it's so funny you say that because I was looking around the gym the other day and I was like, I could write an entire upper body workout for Mega Mass and a lower body. And I think it would be pretty damn awesome. From just like even the pieces I have alone. I mean, I have some arms and stuff, but like shoulders, presses, pulls, like they're all pretty solid.
Mhm.
I agree. You could do a lot
Does he
worse.
do a leg press?
He has
I don't
like
think
a
I've seen one.
45, not one yet. There's like a 45 seated squat,
Mhm.
but no actual leg press yet
Okay.
in the future, I think.
I'm sure
yeah,
he's working on something.
Hmm.
I was playing around with all the equipment that they got brand new over at Destination, all the Mega Mass stuff, and the what's the other
Mhm.
one, Gym Clo or whatever,
Gymleco.
Gymleco,
Gymleco.
and then New Tech's also really big. The only
Yeah,
one I've tried has been at your gym, Jack, and I didn't love it. I mean,
I
it's fine, but I would never pick it over like the linear explode row from Megamass or even like the Cybex Eagle row I think you have. Both
mhm.
those would be better.
I agree 100%. So like obviously like gym equipment's my thing. And I went to the new tech gym out in Vegas, the torture gym, and I
Mm,
tried every single one of the machines, a full set on everything, wanted to get a feel for it. I think there was other than the lateral raise was super solid. And their like hack was okay, but I wasn't super impressed by pretty much anything else from a row. They have a row where you have some supination, and they have a row where it almost like incline rotates you a little bit as you come back. Those are like kind of fine. Yeah, I'm not impressed. Mega Math's solid though. Gymleco has some decent pieces too. It's a little bit kind of, I mean, obviously a little bit lower quality, but
they're freaking heavy.
dude,
Like
did you do the incline press at Destination? When I was down there for my
yeah,
wife's nationals, we did that. That was solid. That was a good
and
angle.
the overhead press one too. I was like, why is this so heavy? And I'm like, the levers have to be ridiculously dumb. Like
yeah.
I
And
was like,
it's nice for,
it's
sorry,
so
go ahead.
primal.
Yeah,
It,
Yeah.
dude.
it, it's nice too because everything I've seen from them, it's a pretty small footprint.
Hmm.
Agreed.
Like I think they saw a post, I almost sent it to you, Jack. It's an RDL, but it has the bar on your hips like you use for the Smith on the Smith machine. I was like, this would fit right between the Smith and that yellow piece you have.
I saw that, dude. I was thinking about that. I'm already thinking about it. They like I said, their incline press is really solid. They have a decent T-bar row. I do like it how small the footprints are. Like, and they're not super expensive either. They're
Mm.
pretty nice. Their bicep, their stack loaded bicep. I think one of my favorite biceps ever made. So in the future, I'll get that too.
I feel like if you had, you could buy equipment for however many square feet you could get.
Oh yeah, dude.
You could fill it up with just as dense with just more equipment that you like.
You know I could, dude. Their standing chest press is pretty decent. Their Viking press isn't horrible. Um,
Yeah, that's the one I did. The Viking
yeah,
press.
I
That
like
one
their
is
leg
like,
press.
heavy.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah, their hip press is all right.
how's their pendulum squat?
I've never used it.
I use Panattas. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan. I don't
I
like a
don't like
lot of
any
like I've
Panatta.
tried so much Panatta stuff and I'm like, this is it. I don't know. I feel like it's made for short people. Like their
I feel
pads
like
are kind of weird, but I just don't like the movement patterns either.
I feel like it's Prius with a Lamborghini interior.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful, but it's just eh.
Dude, everyone goes into Panatta, and I don't have a single shred of Panatta in my gym for a very specific reason. But like everyone goes and uses it. Wow, it's so great. I'm like, cool, load that for like 6 to 8 weeks and tell me how your joints feel after that. Like
Yeah.
it's just the things are just off enough where it adds up, man. But I do like the Gymleco stacks. Like these are like these cool silver metal plates.
Those are old school.
Yeah, it looks old school for sure. Very old school, but also very European too.
Yeah. I like it. I like for stuff to be heavier too, though. So like
Mhm.
I don't want to have to load a ton of plates because then that means I have to load or unload so many and I gotta like allocate where they're all at. So like give me the thinnest plates, make the machine super hard. Don't give me all these different leverage points to where you make it easier. Like whenever you do like cables, like I don't need four different movement points. Just give me one or two, make it harder, and I don't have to do as much weight. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I
That's
have a
why.
one I have a 1-to-1 pull down in my gym, Joe. I mean, that thing is like it's a heavy mother. A straight
mm,
up 300-pound sacks is like 300 pounds. You know?
That's the only reason why I don't like the Cydex squat press. It feels great. I mean, it's very ergonomic, but I don't want to load 10 plates aside. My lower back's going to give out before my legs do.
That's such a problem of our destination because it's like you have all the other leg equipment and everyone else is
Mhm.
they're big dudes. So I'm like, freak, man, I need more plates. And then like the women come in and they're even using the 45s. They use like six each. And I'm like, freak. So you have to like go all the way on the other side, get more 45s, walk them back, and you're like, oh dude, it freaking you're doing like landmine carries and stuff. Like you're just freaking nuts.
I was thinking about just leaving some 100-pound plates like around there just for that machine alone.
You've been saying that for a year and a half.
I haven't said, well, I have them too. They're sitting in my
You,
garage.
they're in your basement and you
Do
don't want
some
to
like
carry them
I just
upstairs.
do some Louis shit where I just like weld that to the bar. If you can't start it that way, you can't do it.
Uh,
Just like have one person that's always going to stand on top of it. Just hire some really big person. Just
Hey
sit on
Joe,
top.
You want to come be that guy?
as I go through prep, it'll be easier for everyone else.
Hey, there you go. All right. Shit, Joe's in his off season. I don't think I can handle that one today.
Uh, Not technically in the off season anymore.
Oh. Yeah, hey, prep start.
No, man, you're looking lean.
Pre-prep, whatever he calls it. We're trying to add size for like 4 weeks before we start dieting down because I'm in decent shape and it's still 21 weeks. So just being in a health phase, I lost like 20 pounds. So we're trying to get some of that back before he diets me down again. So he actually increased my food this week, which I was a little bit surprised about.
So
I was ready to go.
a pre-prep growth phase that
Yeah.
we should coin. That's a new.
I
You
feel like
guys
the
heard about this new
pre-prep
phase that bodybuilders do?
is something
Like
like Kuba would say.
it's like it's like prep, but you're growing.
PPGP, pre-prep grow phase. Yeah,
Mhm.
there you
Yeah, you're
go.
gonna look good, Joe. I'm excited to see you transform, man.
Appreciate that. It's been a productive 3 years. I feel
Absolutely.
got a
Yeah,
little bit fat in there for a while, but it had a purpose, and now I'm not quite so fat anymore.
there you
Yeah.
are.
Huh?
Hey,
Look
I wasn't
at
trying to self promote or anything. I'm sorry.
that. I actually
Yeah.
one of my clients was like, "Hey, I haven't seen Joe in here in a minute." Like, he was actually just here this morning, and I showed him that picture. He goes, "That's Joe."
Yeah,
Oh, I took
Yep.
that picture.
actually, my girlfriend over there took the picture for me.
Yeah. Looks good.
Uh,
Tell me the little angle though. You look a little gnomey.
Keeping it.
it doesn't help that I shaved my head, so and I
Oh,
look especially like a gnome.
that's the look, my dude.
See, I fully commit. I did all the back and everything, so you got a little bit more hair than me now.
I think you look bigger because of it.
Everyone who's talked to me has said they like it better, so I'm keeping it.
Yeah. Andrew, you're next, dude.
I'm in the reverse of you guys. I can't grow a beard, man. Yeah, I
Before
tried.
and after.
Now all my hair's getting gray, man. If they can do something about reversing gray, I would love it.
Oh, hair dye.
Yeah, they
Nah,
technically.
I'm never gonna fall victim to that. Those guys, I'm like, nah, nah.
Uh,
My
the
wife is
entire
like, you got to
market.
keep the gray.
The next episode, man, you got to come on with it all blacked out and see if anyone notices.
Yeah. So like sometimes like so my wife and kids they're in Florida right now. So the last time they did this, when they came back, I shaved my head to like a mohawk, and my wife was so pissed. And then another time before that, she came back and I just showed her a picture of like hair on the ground, and then I was bald. And then I went and I got my concealed weapons permit, and so I look like a convicted felon
Yeah,
on
dude.
my
Like a
so like
skinhead, bro. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
the dude taking the picture, he was like, "That's not good." Yeah, so I still carry that thing around with me. I use that as like my main thing of ID.
It's fun.
All right. You got some questions you want to go through?
Yeah, I think I sent you one that I got.
Yeah.
This that's probably good for both of you because you're much more educated on the health side of things. But if you don't pull up, Andrew, basically what it was is someone was asking how would you go about basic kind of bodybuilding with cycling, eating all the food and everything, with mild, moderate, and severe left ventricle hypertrophy. And would that change basically if you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s?
Yeah.
Kind
How
of
old are you,
what
Jack?
I'm 33.
How long have you been bodybuilding?
So I'm doing it for the last, like, I'd say since I was in my early mid 20s, 8, 9 years. I've been coaching for a little longer than that though. But
Okay.
yeah, yep, some kids, some things along the way. So I'm just coaching now, but my wife is more competitive right now than I am.
Okay. Was she competing?
She does bikini. She got third at nationals last year.
You guys are up in Wisconsin, right?
Minnesota.
You guys in
Minnesota?
Minnesota? Same
Yeah.
Yep.
thing. Oh.
Yeah, right.
Oh, how dare you!
All right, have fun down there in Mexico. Like,
Dude,
Closer to Cuba.
I moved from Cuba to Mexico. Yeah. Florida to Texas. Yeah. Um, okay. So you guys are up there with those other podcast guys.
yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Um, okay. So yeah, how would you train it? What like
Honestly,
English?
man, obviously managing blood pressure, inflammation, right? And functional supplements to like kind of support like left ventricular heart remodeling, obviously. So omega-3s, ubiquinol, even like some resveratrol, mitochondrial support in general. I just think you get like the body, you keep blood pressure in a good spot. You don't add any additional, you will add strain by getting bigger. However, if you can continue to improve, I think mitochondrial function, keep inflammation low, keep blood pressure managed. I think the risk of it getting worse is slim.
Mhm.
You know,
And I could be completely off base here, so I'm
Yeah.
sure I'll get blasted if I am. But I believe Jordan Peters for a while really advocated for guys who were on anabolics to not do very much HIIT because getting that heart rate into the higher ranges with the anabolics would lead to it growing more. I'm not sure if he still preaches that because I honestly had to stop following him because it was kind of just the same thing over and over again, and I just started to agree with it less and less. But I know that he used to advocate for that, and
I
I would
don't
almost go the opposite way because I feel like getting more hit and getting that intensity up, I don't think it would make the heart hypertrophy any worse, but it would improve its capacity to pump blood. So therefore, it wouldn't have to work as hard just when you're at rest, and therefore would have less, if we want to use bodybuilding terms, less time under tension to be growing.
agreed. Yeah, you don't I mean you
Yeah.
don't see Olympic sprinters with those types of heart issues, right? So
They do, I believe, in a lot of young people say, "Oh, you have an athletic heart," but after a certain age, they just start calling it enlarged. So in athletes, I think the mild cases, you're as long as you manage it with, as Jack mentioned, blood pressure, all the supplementation, you should be safe to continue your goal of growing. But if it gets scanned again in a year or two and it's getting worse, then maybe you have to consider pulling back to TRT and maybe downsizing.
I think
Yeah.
keeping your resting heart rate low, I think is huge as well. I think a lot of people, their resting heart rate just gets too high. Often, stress and sleep apnea and all these other things that definitely contributes to those issues as well.
To you two, what is too high of a resting heart rate?
40 to 60 is where I like to keep it.
And do you consider that like when you're sitting on the couch, or do you measure that as your overnight low?
As like your overnight low. And people getting back down into like the 60s, like maybe low 70s, I think just like throughout the day, I think is normal.
You
Especially
don't
if you
want to
have
see
some
my
sort.
watch then.
What are you at, Joe?
The in my cruise, I was coming down. Nighttime was low 70s, and if I was like up walking around and then sat down and immediately checked, I would see low 90s. But then if I was just like chilling for a longer period, it would get down to kind of the low 80s.
Hmm.
So it's something I've kind of been watching, and I know part of that could be Retta is known to increase it, as well as some nice caffeine here. This is just a Diet Coke, but
Same,
still some
dude.
caffeine in there.
There's enough stuff I know you do that would cause a baseline elevation of that.
Yes.
Right? And the fact that you're 275, right? Has got some
Down
weight.
to 260.
Okay. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. All good points. And yeah, the one thing that I would say I would go back and say what was the main cause of the LVH, right? So were was this person a previous athlete? What has been their sleeping schedule? Are they do overnights, shift change? How's your stress level as far as like dealing and managing with anxiety? Because that's going to keep it chronically elevated as well.
Mhm.
Um, just function, just like hurting your adrenals again, then that's going to affect your blood pressure. But I would definitely keep your training. I would definitely do HIIT cardio. Think of it like a rubber band. If I continually hold and stretch out the rubber band, it's going to stay more elongated versus if I just kind of bounce it back and forth, like HIIT cardio, then it's going to go back to its regular form. It can take a beating like that for a very, very long time. But as far as like being diagnosed as athletic heart back then, it's primarily because of the people going into the doctors that were having worries about cardiac output. And they're not checking like all the athletes. It's usually long distance runners, cross country runners. So you have a skewed data in our healthcare saying, "Oh, it's an athletic heart." Well, no, you're only testing the people that are athletes with high endurance output practices, and especially if you're younger and you want to be a basketball player, a football player, whatever, to be a professional. What do we have to do? Train 24/7. So I'm training 3, 4 times a day, all the time. But usually, those people that are doing this, they're usually not in a wealthy home. So their food quality usually poor. So now you have a lot of fatty foods mixed with refined sugars, maybe not getting enough protein in. So you have this whole factor of nutrition coming in, and all those things damage the cardiovascular system. And we know for a lot of times you can get diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or pre-diabetes. All those things affect the cardiovascular wall. So all those supplements that Jack was saying, definitely take. Um, I would throw in organ blends, a heart specific organ blend. So like like heals like. And if you're looking into peptides, Cardiogen is a great one. I would be wary about BPC and TB, which I mean, Mike can talk about it, but I just I'm not a fan of angiogenesis. Whenever there's some sort of natural repair that needs to happen, I don't want to throw in more angiogenesis on top of that and then cause like scar tissue. So I'm very cautious about that. But I've had an LVH before, like I can't remember the millimeter, but that was whenever I was doing track, doing 100 meters, plus I was doing long distance. And so mine's come back down. So they do come back down. I don't have a stent or anything. But I've also incorporated a lot more HIIT since having that. But
I suppose
as
I
far
would ask you, Andrew, if you say you're seeing a lot of sprinters with it, or not more kind of long distance athletes, then you're also seeing people who are potentially dealing with like type 2 diabetes or those kind of illnesses. Since you work or have worked with a lot of football teams in the past, just on a first glance, would you think one of the offensive linemen or one of the receivers would be more at risk of having LVH?
offensive linemen would be more at risk, just because usually during practices, yeah, the wide receivers are, doing a lot more like running, but they're also chilling a lot more. At, like they're not practicing, and they have less body weight on them and they're feeding less. But the offensive linemen, they're doing more than what people think, which is why the average age for offensive linemen in the college or NFL is severely low, and the lifespan is severely low as well. Because that I they put way more food into their body and way more training than what we think at that elite level. Like I can say that they probably train more than the majority of strongmen, in a different fashion though, because they are smaller in a way. But the food that they eat, man, I'm telling you, for their size versus a strongman, the size difference, I mean, they're nowhere near the size of strongmen typically, like the elite guys. So like their calories though are still higher. And strongmen typically their diet's cleaner. Offensive linemen, not so much, man. You got a bunch of money, or you just got to cram in food,
Well, and
so that you
you'll
don't
see a lot of
shrink.
those guys lose crazy amounts of weights when they're done playing because of so much body fat. A strong
Yeah,
man, especially at a high level, has a lot more muscle tissue than
yeah,
an offense lineman. But I think there's also other considerations there as well. Things like the thyroid disorders and just general like health. For example, like super high TSH and the correlation there with other like issues, other blood clotting issues and other like factors that we would want to look at in the overall health of the system. Right. So like I don't think the LVH in its own isolation is necessarily super negative. It's kind of when coupled with all of these other lifestyle behaviors and other comorbidities, that's when you have the bigger issue. So I think it's reversing as many of those as possible.
yeah. I think people make it too big of a problem that what it really is, and I don't think it's not that like hard of a fix in my opinion. And you can still stay on anabolics, um, because and like it doesn't matter if it's testosterone versus EQ, they're all going to thicken your blood, right? But I think I'm pretty sure Palumbo and all of them made this severely more than what it is, and probably to gain more clients. I mean, the best way to bring in clients is usually bring in fear and then have a solution. So
Well,
I think it's brought out context.
they call it cardiometabolic health so often, right? And like just like the whole metabolic aspect of that, I think is an even larger driver. Even things like low test, there's correlations
Yeah.
with heart issues, right? So in a way, like I think keeping some in, at least in forms of TRT a little higher than that, is definitely beneficial for heart health. So
Yeah, I mean, and again, I just keep the stress levels low. I like high repetition in the gym. Just do things to stimulate muscle growth in some sort of way, keep it enjoyable. But I do like more of a hit cardio, hits like high repetition training. Um, and again, I think that that's better overall for your health as far as cardiovascular health versus putting on mass or trying to increase CNS strength.
well, all of my bodybuilders for sure have, I mean, say 4 to 5, they have a lot of cardio in. I balanced a ton of potassium in their diets. all that kind of good stuff. And their blood pressures are sitting low. And I think that helps a lot from the overall, like, just strain on the heart, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't see people having like a lot of these issues. I mean, I get guys running up their stuff decently high and they're just so healthy enough at a baseline that they're set up to handle it. And so I think if you have those issues, maybe you can't run it high right away, but you can reverse a lot of them and then ramp it back up.
And the other thing too, man. So this is having worked in the medical field. You might need to go back and take that test over and over again because depending on the tech that you're getting, they're the ones measuring during these on the machines. So if they measure just slightly more millimeter than what it is, now you're positive for LVH. Maybe they mismeasured, maybe the image wasn't correct. I mean, when you're doing ultrasounds and stuff, it's so hard. Like if people haven't ever tried to use an ultrasound or any other medical grade technology equipment, it's freaking hard. And so even some of the best techs, I mean, they do make mistakes because they have so many patients to see. And then whenever you're freaking behind, you're just like, let me hurry up and do these measurements. People see it like whenever getting the sonograms. I mean, the techs are going so fast. They're like, pop, pop, measuring, pop, pop, measuring. I'm like, they do it so fast. And luckily I never had to do that stuff, but a few times, but like I screwed up so many times. So, so it's the same thing like calcium scores. I think
I
people
was just gonna say,
again, it's like the what are you getting your numbers for? Are you getting for the calcified, soft, inside, outside of the arteries? Like what are we looking at?
and if a guy I saw a guy the other day, pro, had it zero. This is zero. He's been on for a decade plus, high amounts. Like he's probably across the board lower risk as a result of being there, obviously. So, sometimes some people obviously respond in some ways versus others. Some get certain problems versus others, but you start to have some of these larger markers that are in a good spot. You're like, well, something's a little bit skewed. I'm probably not as concerned if obviously multiple markers are flagged, right?
Yeah. Um, oh, hey, I'm kind of off topic. Have you guys been seeing any clips of this Brandon Gill, this representative congressman, who's like, oh, dude, so funny, so funny. He's like, going over the SNAP benefits with the one of the
I think I've
experts,
seen her this, yes.
bro. He's like saying like, is Coca-Cola necessary to survive or whatever? And she's like, I cannot make a comment. He's like, you can't make a comment, dude. He's drilling so many people. I just saw one about like some dude had like a Nazi symbol, and he asked the guy and the plaintiff or whatever is black, and he's like, do you think this is okay? And the guy's like, I cannot speak for Mr. So and so. And I'm like, so you're totally fine with someone having that, and you don't think he's a Nazi? It's great, dude. I love those people. But just thinking about health and the SNAP benefits, this dude's freaking great. But yeah, Brandon Gill, that guy's awesome. Um, okay, questions.
I think there's that, wasn't there one like when they first announced some of that? There's like that one clip of that lady who was like all pissed off because she couldn't buy, has like ho-hos or something. And they're like, we're gonna starve because we can't buy like this junk food. It's
I'm
just
going to be the
like
one to say it.
the mental gymnastics, bro, is crazy.
This guy.
I'll be the one to say it. The people who make those videos like, oh, we're going to
Yeah.
starve without being able to buy these things, they're always not at risk of starving for quite a long time because they are very fat. I'll be
Right.
the one to say it. That I have not seen an in shape person say that. And maybe it's because they're less devil's advocate here playing their side. Maybe because they're low income, they have less availability to high quality foods and therefore are heavier, or they can't afford a high quality gym membership and therefore they can't exercise. But
Nah, man.
Dude,
They're just
I
they're
think I
lazy,
think
man.
I know like there's like a budgeting show I watch because I'm into like personal finance and everything, and he gives them a $300 a month grocery budget, and they're Like, how do we do that? We can't survive on that. Groceries are so expensive. We're spending so much on every trip. I broke down. I mean, I eat, granted, multiple times a day, but I also eat more calories than most people. A meal of chicken, rice, some green beans, and some fruit is less than $3 a meal. I mean, it's less than $10 a day. If you have a little bit of like a snack in there for $1, so let's say $10 a day, 30 days a month, $300 a month. You can spend that in 1 week buying ho-hos or Pop Tarts or getting a big thing of candy.
Going
Like
on to
a
eat.
2 liter of soda is like $6 or something.
Yeah, but dude, Pop Tarts now have protein.
They're making our whey protein more expensive.
Uh, no, I mean, you start throwing in flavor gang sauces and stuff like that. Now your meal goes up.
Yeah.
That does get more expensive. But if you go with
Yeah,
yellow mustard, go through a bottle a week for $1.50, add $6 to your monthly bill for
yeah,
tasting good.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a lot of mustard,
I
but
I like spicy brown mustard, man. I don't know why people don't like that shit. I love that stuff.
have you tried the horseradish mustard?
I haven't. That sounds like something my dad would eat, though.
It's 0 calories,
Grandpa.
so I went with that. Or I think it was jalapeno mustard because it was 0 calorie and sweet heat with 5 calorie a serving. So I said, I'm gonna go with the 0 calorie. It was pretty good.
That's like a
Spicier
negative
than you
calorie
would
for me.
think.
I'm gonna like eat it and throw up.
Uh,
Horseradish? Ugh,
off topic,
it's
I'm
like
good.
wasabi.
Yeah, I'm good. Dude, I
I
would do
am
wasabi
a
with
little bit
horseradish.
upset about something though. The Melinda's black truffle hot sauce that everyone loves. You used to be able to buy a half gallon for $25. They have been sold out. I think they're discontinuing the half gallons.
Someone
And I
found
am
the
very
hack.
upset about this.
The bodybuilding world offset the supply demand chain.
I think so. Because all of their half gallons of every sauce is sold out except for one. So I'm thinking they're just selling out of what they have. They're not going to restock them.
Well, didn't they
And
say that about sriracha sauce for the longest time? That like the
I
place that made sriracha was going to be done making sriracha because all the leaves like weren't available or some shit like that.
think they did. That goes back in like 2021.
Didn't you remember hearing that? I remember hearing that.
It's like the Hoi
I'm
Fung
pretty sure.
sriracha was short for a while. Like you having to buy like the Tabasco brand sriracha instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just creates supply and demand. You know, it just creates that chaos. Freaking Masteron and Primo.
SD micro SD cards. You seen that shit lately? It used to be like
Mm.
35
Oh,
bucks for like 512 gigs, and now it's like 150, $200. It's crazy.
yeah, I don't know anything about that. I know there's like metals or whatever they have to make these chips with. And they're like, this it's a non-renewable resource. We need to go to the moon and grab this special one. And I don't know. Going back to the condiments. Someone asked about the Project AD peanut butter.
I don't trust that.
Yeah.
Okay, that was their question.
Project
Like, have
AD
you
peanut
tried
butter?
it?
How
Have you
expensive
tried
would
it?
that be?
It's like
And
$15 a jar,
Jeez.
if
yeah,
not
have you
more.
tried it though?
I'm looking it up.
No, like the Professor Nuts.
Oh, that's what it's called, Professor Nuts. Okay.
I think it would just make me shit myself.
Dude, I can't. Like you think you're healthy. If you think you're healthy by putting that in your body, I don't know what to tell you. You probably also don't fucking eat vegetables.
Bam. Yeah, this guy.
This looks so toxic, dude.
If you had to use only Professor Nuts or Walden Farms peanut butter,
Oh
which one
my.
would you use?
Probably
I've had the
Professor Nuts.
Walden
At least
Farms
I'm not
one.
gonna.
It is
I'm not gonna die
terrible.
of starvation. Then you know,
Um,
there's at least some calories.
does it not have the it doesn't have the
I think you need to ask Eileen if she would rather have one of those or no peanut butter. Because I've never heard a woman say they don't want peanut butter.
I don't write peanut butter in people's plans anymore because no one can control themselves, especially my females. No one gets peanut butter anymore forever.
I've heard people be like, I give almond butter because it tastes worse.
Yeah, right.
Like not for any health benefits or micronutrients, just because it tastes worse, so they're less likely to binge on it.
That's actually very true, dude. Very true. My
That's the
daughter's
way
school,
to
good.
that's the way to increase their water intake. So dry.
At my daughter's school, they can't even do any of that. They have to use sunflower butter.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Dude, I sent
I
my
have a
kid
jar of that in my cabinet. I think I'm gonna let it expire before I use it.
I sent my kid to school with like a peanut butter snack or whatever. He had to go eat it out in the hallway and
Yeah.
then like wash his mouth out or something afterwards before coming into the classroom. And I'm like, and I told him, I was like, well, that's because, the weak will die and you're just too strong. So I'm like, let the weak die. And I'm like,
Natural
just don't
selection.
repeat that. Yeah. Darwinism. But I think we need to have a lesson now. But they're great, man. When they go shopping with me, going back to fat people, they will like stare at someone who's like overweight and they're like, why are they so big? And they say it out loud, like right that person right behind. And I'm just like, they eat a lot and don't move. And, and then the people like just are so pissed. Oh man, they're great. Love having kids.
How old are your kids?
6 and 8.
Yeah, I got a 7 and 3-year-old. So yeah, they're in that primo
Boys or
spot.
girls?
2 girls.
2 girls. I got 2 boys.
Ah, nice.
I'm not even finding the ingredients on this Professor Nuts.
That's
I think
that's
they
that's
used some corn fiber that binds with the fat in the peanuts so that you can't absorb it.
oh
It's
that
almost kind of like those David
yep,
bars,
yep.
allegedly, but
Hey,
they say a calorie corrected nutrition label and then a regular nutrition label that's regular peanut butter. And they say that the what we think you're absorbing is this calorie corrected one, but it's going to vary person to person. So just kind of pulling it into the bodybuilding space, I'm sure as number one, you're in contest prep, your digestion slows down from lower food intake. It's going to be sitting in your stomach for longer, so you're going to be absorbing more of the calories. And then if you add Retta or CAG on top of that, it's going to sit in your stomach for longer. So you'd absorb more calories than even that. So I just, I know people say like, oh, I've eaten a jar of day and their calorie corrected label lines up with what my scale is showing.
nah,
And I just
man.
don't believe that.
Well, like here's other problems with it. First of all, go back to your David comment. Remember, I told you the drive from Texas to Florida, I ate
Yes,
four of them.
you
Four
found
of
your
them.
limit of bars.
4, they give you diarrhea for a while, right? So, but the other thing is like when they're eating this stuff too, yeah, it sits in their stomach, but then now there's a fermentation of and like sulfur, methyl gases. I don't know what that does to our body's ability to absorb these nutrients. Like it might not allow some of these things to penetrate through the gut lining. Um, but I, I have no idea like, if that's a problem or not, but they're probably eating less food overall because they're so gassy and bloated. They're like, yeah, this peanut butter, I haven't gained any weight. Ate the whole thing, and then realizing that they're not eating the rest of their meals or something.
Do you want to know what the ultimate fat person behavior is? Is finding ways to eat more peanut butter just because like you get more, like you're not even getting anything out of it now because if you're not getting the calories out of it, then what the hell are you eating it for? You're just trying to find ways to eat more peanut butter. It's like those like low calorie donuts and shit. I'm like, oh my God.
What kills me is when I see like, oh, here's this healthy snack. You cut open a date, you stuff it with peanut butter, sprinkle it with honey. Healthy. Like that is
Oh,
just carbs on or fat on carbs on fat. What's going
dude,
on here?
have you seen some of those videos of like people on Facebook is where I find them all, and they're like the healthy breakfast, and it's like oatmeal plus like dates plus date syrup plus peanut
Chia
butter. I'm like,
seeds. Fuck loads of
yeah,
chia seeds.
it's all organic and all natural. I'm like, what in the world, dude? There's freaking crazy. I'm like, that's a dessert within itself, man.
That's even
I,
like
I
those
was,
like acai bowls. I've never had one before, but you look at that shit and you're like, there's not an ounce of fucking protein in there, and it's it's all this
It,
shit.
it's because you got to release that FGF21 gene, get that sugar diet. Um, um, Someone was asking about your sweetener of choice for bodybuilding prep. Do you use the same ones that you do in the off season and during contest prep?
I want to know, what are you needing to use sweetener for? Like, do you just need to add stevia to your coffee? Is that what you're using sweetener for? Or are you sprinkling Splenda packets on your rice? Like, what are we doing with the sweetener here? Because, I mean, maybe I'm asking this, but I drink my coffee black when I do have it. So I've experimented with using like those stevia sweet leaf drops in the past, and they're okay. I've had like the True Nutrition flavor powders. I've tried like making cream of rice with them, and you need to use an egregious amount of them to get the flavor to come through in the final product, and it makes you end up shitting yourself anyways. So I really haven't. I think if you're a bodybuilder, I want to know why you're adding sweetener thing to things in the first place.
This person looks like there's someone who's trying to get into bodybuilding. You know what I mean?
Okay, it's like more of a
Um,
lifestyle person trying to be a bodybuilder.
Use
yeah.
honey. And then when you honey, you don't have carbs or honey anymore. You're just SOL. That's it. It's just
Um, when you
glycine.
said that when you said that you like your coffee black, it always makes me think of that joke where the guy's like, "How do you want your coffee?" And he's like, "Without a father."
You ever seen that guy who has like he does like those videos on Facebook and he's like a comedian. He has like these flashlights. He's like, I like my women like I like my and so it says coffee. And he goes Italian and sweet, psych black.
Man. If any, I guess if you're using a sweetener, I would suggest like allulose might be a good one. Like in prep. But I would like to see how your body handles it in the off season, just because it can help stimulate a natural GLP-1 production through the pathway of CCK and stuff. So
Just, I mean, in
yeah,
general, I think to Joe's point, like how many things are actually need to be sweetened? Like if
I
your
don't add
coffee,
sweetener to anything.
so I'm saying even if it's your coffee and you have like a couple packs of Steve, like I've never seen that cause any issue. Not even a really
Mm.
digestively or fat loss resistance wise. Like it doesn't really do anything. So like I mean, unless you're downing shit that you need to sweeten, then that's another problem. And all that stuff probably causes, especially the shit that like you would add a lot of sweeteners to, probably like low high fiber, low carb, whatever they want to call it, right? That causes other digestive issues, motility issues. That I'd be more worried about that. Those are the people that always have like, oh, Jack, why am I so bloated at the end of prep? I'm like, well, because you've been stuffing your face with this shit. Just try to, get around actually dieting.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, going back to your point, now that I'm like really thinking about this question, I don't add sweeteners to anything. It makes me want to go and just be a fly on the wall and see what these people do because I don't know how people like. I look in people's carts, so I'm a big judgy person. So I look in your grocery carts, I look in your cars. I'm like, how do you live? But I'm wondering, what are they? Is like, do they have to make their oatmeal that they're buying sweetened, like extra sweetened, or can they not just use berries, cream of rice? I mean, you can buy sweetened, or are you adding more sweetener? I mean, typically they all use the same kind, but I mean, I would just stick with natural foods that are naturally sweet. I think honey's awesome, anyways.
I love honey. Fun fact: xylitol though, good for starving bacteria in your mouth that causes cavities. So
Yes.
yeah,
So
so
chew
Didn't know
xylitol
that.
gum.
chew some gum.
Yeah,
Just don't
the whole
chew
pack.
3 packs a day.
Dude, I cannot stand is watching people chew fucking gum while doing legs. Two, chewing gum on the Stairmaster. I'm like, just I'll look at people in the gym and spit that shit out, like from a distance. Well,
How many times have you
Um,
told Rich to spit his gum out?
dude, it's an obscene amount.
That man
uh,
chews a lot of gum.
Yeah.
have you guys seen the that mastic gum? It's like the jaw, like whatever jaw building gum. Dude, I see some of those people like put it in their mouth and they're like, and like they can't barely chew anymore. I'm like, bro, what's the point?
I always find it
Um,
interesting those people that like there's all those like tools to build your like jaw, and some of them have really, I'm really skeptical about their use. Don't be
Uh,
seen in public try to build your jaw.
um, that's a dumb one. What's your carb of choice for pre, intra, and post workout?
So I am the carb king. I eat a lot of carbs. So in my solid pre-workout meal, I like to use like a cream of rice with some dates and honey. The cream of rice I prefer to like either an unflavored or one of the Pride Food ones. I wouldn't want to use like a Flavor Gang or a Muscle Sport that are super heavy on the artificial sweeteners, just because in small amounts, I'm sure they're fine. But if I'm going to train legs, I don't want to be having bubble guts and get to the bottom of a hack squat and be questioning if something's going to come out at the bottom.
My gym also
Because
appreciates that, Joe.
I,
My members appreciate that.
I figured. So I would prefer like an unflavored or a sugar sweetened creamer ice with dates and honey. Uh, Directly like in your pre-workout shake, I think either some honey or some glycerol, potentially both, depending on your needs, can be good there. Start off with 10 grams of glycerol, I would say, pre workout. Work it up to 20 as your stomach allows, but don't jump right to 20 because, again, you will shit yourself. I feel like there's a theme here in what I'm saying, but I do really like the pump from glycerol. It is technically a carbohydrate. So 10 grams of liquid glycerol would be 10 grams of carbohydrates. Intra workout, I think, actually, I got this from Jack and I've been enjoying it. I think some pomegranate juice can be really good there because it's good for uh, a lot of vascular health. So I feel like it gives a bit of a better pump. Plus, it tastes good and it's cheaper than like a cyclic dextrin. So I would use that up to about 30 grams. Anything over 30 grams, I would use high molecular weight carbohydrate, like a cyclic dextrin. If you're trying to go a little bit cheaper, potentially a carbolin. Vitargo is an old school one, but I think it clumps up too much. And I feel like you get some sips with no carbs in it and some where you're drinking it and then there's a rock that hits your throat and you're chewing on it then. So not a great mixer. If you're going to do carbs in a post-workout shake, which I would argue is more important than slamming a protein shake afterwards, I think again, a high molecular weight carbohydrate like your cluster dextrin, your carbolin, something along those lines that hits you quickly, and then within about half an hour of that, potentially either some cream of rice. I think we discussed it last week. Rice cereal can be good when you get into the higher amounts because it's easier to eat than a big bowl of cream of rice. I definitely wouldn't want to be doing like potatoes, any fibrous vegetables like broccoli or anything. I think fruit can be good as long as it's a denser fruit, like say a date, a banana. I wouldn't want to be doing a lot of like apples or watermelon because again, it's a high volume food there. And really, kind of the whole premise behind my approach to it is get carbohydrates in your body that digest quickly, but don't upset your stomach or spike blood sugar. Because the old school like Gatorade or just dextrose intra workout, I feel like can be okay in smaller amounts, but when you get to the higher amounts that I'm using, and if I'm rambling here, just stop me. It can be a big spike, and then you crash after half an hour into your workout. So if you start drinking it during your warm ups, right when you're getting to your heavy sets, you're sugar crashing, which is not really what you want. So just really kind of get carbohydrates that digest quickly and effectively. I know there's a lot of research out there that says your glycogen you're using more from the previous day than from the intra-workout shake. I am a firm disagreeer in that. I have seen so many improvements from drinking carbs intra-workout and around the workout both in performance, in my recovery, in my focus during the gym. I feel better having more carbs around the workout, even if I have to sacrifice carbs throughout the rest of the day to put them there. And I'll stop rambling now because I'm sure someone else has something to say.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'm like on the same boat too. I don't think people have to be super particular about the ratio of like glucose and fructose, but just get a mix in. But two things. One, the dextrose, when you do start to go higher, it will have a gastric emptying effect, just like glycerol, all these other things, but without pulling in water, it'll just make you cramp usually. Um, and two, I am I do believe that carbs intra-workout really do work. And your body's not always running on what you ate 2 days prior. And the reason why I believe this is because working with athletes, what are they drinking on the sideline? They're drinking Gatorade, they're drinking sugars. What are we feeding them 2 days prior and a day prior? Tons of carbs. And yet they still need carbs to perform better on the field. And number two, they're also eating fruit. So you see basketball players eating fruit while they're sitting there. So they're drinking dextrose, glucose from like Powerade, Gatorade, whatever. Plus they're eating fruit, so getting the fructose in. So I do think that those things work because if it didn't, why would we do this for people that have $60 million contracts? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
We
So
have
yeah,
way,
I believe so.
we have way too much literature on the effectiveness of it. Even in like long endurance runners, right? Distance runners, like the actual refueling effect. Now, obviously, they're doing long distance exercise, very different than weight training. But like, I don't think when it comes to weight training, you are obviously not exerting, you're not getting that deep in all of your glycogen, right? And so therefore, why would we do it? It's that short term. I think there's a cognitive benefit to it for sure. And I think we have some literature on that. It's not just about the glycogen refueling effect of carbs pre-workout. There's that hunger and that satiation that allows the cognitive effect of now you can push yourself harder because you don't feel hungry and everything else. So then also too, like you're not training that long, you're not tapping into all that glycogen. Some of that shorter, more easy to use carbohydrates are more available to use for your workout, which is less demand on your body to try to pull them and utilize them, right? So
Yeah.
I like Joe's breakdown because I'm very similar on that as well. I think everyone is a little bit different in terms of like there's like these threshold amounts you have to learn how you respond to. I think Joe was giving a good breakdown of like at different amounts and different types, you'll feel different effects. You got to figure out what works for you. But I think the number one thing is like, what do you just tolerate decently? And I think topping off, like even just the hunger response is a huge thing I do with my guys. Like if you just don't feel super hungry going to workout, but you're not jam packed either, that's a good setup. Now use some stuff, especially like on a hard leg day or something later in the workout. I think you'll sustain your performance better. I've just seen it too many times.
Yeah, and I've seen people during athletic events, they just swish it around in their mouth and spit it out, and it still boosts cognitively.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, it's and plus, I mean, we're also using like ATP and all this other stuff, but again, depending on how quickly you can make ATP. But I think the body's kind of like smart. I don't know, man. I don't think we give the body enough credit. I mean, it's a freaking crazy thing, right? Like we find out more new things that we thought were like this is the law of physics, but yet we found out that no, there's another law in physics, right? But or that we can create energy, right? So there's crazy things. We know we found a fifth muscle in the quadricep. It's named quadricep for a reason that there's four, but we've actually found a fifth one. So after however many years, so it's stuff like that. I'm like, I think the body's able to use carbohydrates immediately or stored versus ATP sometimes, just because it wants ATP for mitochondrial support and doing whatever it needs to do to keep your organs alive during that training session. That's very hard. So I think if you create that demand, I think your body is going to find a way to make you perform better. And I think that's where sometimes the genetic hacks come into play, and like, you get these genes and such that are uh, like just
Well,
different for everybody.
I have a guy who's a couple guys who are type 1 diabetic, and one was training the other day, started going hypo in the middle of a lift. It was a hot day, hard lift, all these things. And he didn't change the amount of insulin he took in his pre-workout meal at all. Just through the different exertional effects, he was hitting a low. And he's deep in an off season, so he has plenty of glycogen, right? So why was he still hitting a low? Is he needed an immediate hit of carbs and it brought him back up and he was able to sustain his lift. So I've like, you can look at like that type of an effect to confirm, I think that there's absolutely a benefit to doing so. But I think also to the staggering of different types of carbs, I think your body will get what it needs. Like, for example, the carbolin or some HBCD, like I think there's a kind of a limit of like 40, 50. If you're gonna do it in an intra workout, layer maybe a little palm juice, maybe these different types. I think your body does a good job of, like you said, kind of navigating what it needs. And it only comes through trial and error and actual tracking of that stuff, though.
Yeah. Um, what was the first supplement that you guys ever took? And
Creatine.
multivitamin doesn't count.
My mom made me do a
Creatine.
research paper back in high school so that I could take creatine. And then to start the whole thing.
I'm not sure if these count, but my football coach, sophomore year of high school, uh, he got some, I think, some free products from Gatorade. So it was like the Gatorade protein bars and shakes. They were calorie bombs, but they tasted delicious.
Yeah.
Those are half food, half supplement. So I don't really count those. The first thing I would really consider a supplement would be someone left a tub of Mr. Hyde from Pro Sups just on the counter at the gym just because there was like one scoop left. So they just left it there and forgot about it, I'm sure. So I saw it there for a few days. No one was taking it. I just took it one day, took it pre workout, liked it, bought Redcon Total War because I liked Brian Shaw at the time and he was sponsored by them. And that's where my supplement journey took off.
I remember when I was working with John Jewett, I had gotten some Total War and I sent him a picture. He's like, "Stop that shit right now." He's like,
I
"Why did you
know
buy that?"
I sent Ben, my coach. He used to be sponsored by Redcon for a few months because he was friends with Luke Sandow. And just in one of the training videos that I sent Ben, I was wearing a Redcon sweatshirt. He said, I never want to see you wearing that ever again. So I took that aside and I got rid of it.
We probably had the same sweatshirt. It was like I had a black one and had like the white with the red outlines on it.
Yeah,
Remember?
that's the one.
It's funny.
I used their proteins for a while too, just because they were so cheap. But then I started to kind of pick on if they're so cheap, there must be a reason they're so cheap. And I kind of moved away from them.
Dude, they do volume. They do a lot.
I mean, it was like back then, like everyone was charging like 45, 50 a tub for just a whey protein. And they were charging 45, but every other week was a 50% off sale. Not like a buy one, get one 50% off, like just straight 50% off. So it's like,
yeah.
Okay, so the real selling price is $20 on this. And everyone says, oh, protein's a low margin item to start with. There's something sketchy going on here.
Was it the MRE light or was it their isotope?
Their isotope for a while. I did MRE light just because they had more flavors in it, but it didn't mix as well in my oatmeal. So I just did isotope and have kind of moved away from it. I was on Yamamoto for a while.
I've asked them for their COA and stuff, and their COA to see if they actually had salmon protein in there because it says that on the label. And they're like, we never disclose our blend to protect it. I'm like, you don't have salmon then, because this is like back in the day whenever CrossFit was like really big, and salmon protein was like one of the proteins by Progenics. I can't remember the company, but that back then it was like $70 per a pound of salmon protein. I'm like, there's no way you guys have this in there. But
I don't think it was
they're like a
Pepto Pro. It's like
that one, the Yamamoto one or Yama.
Yeah, no, I remember like there was one that was like a salmon protein that Yamamoto sold, and it was like lemon flavor because I was the only thing I could do to like hide the flavor, and it was their most expensive one. So again, I like James Hollingshead, so I was following. It was like this guy's using it all the time. It must be this great protein. It must be like the key to getting huge. So I bought a few tubs. I had one scoop and I could not eat anymore.
Yeah. I think my first supplement I've ever took was Amino Fuel by Twin Labs back in the day, or it was the EAS packets of like meal replacement. I can't remember because then I started getting like the phosphagen and all that. So when EAS was all big into that, but dude, going to all the expos and stuff back in the day when they were like legit big, I remember just trying so many like weird things. Like they had like powdered chicken or like powdered protein is and it tasted like chicken bouillon. Like it's just
Like
like
powdered
why?
chicken.
Yeah, and my wife loved it at the time. It's like when we first got married, I was like, "Who are you? Like this is disgusting."
I remember when that beef protein, or that carnivore from Muscle, was it Muscle Meds, the red one,
Yeah,
the one that Kyle Green used to hype up. I remember that was my first beef pro. I did not love this. It got caramel flavor. I was like, this is gonna taste so amazing, and it was just not good. I was like, I can replace my beef meal now. And I was like, idiot. I just wish my first supplement had been one of those like pro hormones from GNC.
dude, I remember trying those. Like I remember back when they had GHB. I think it was by USP Labs. I can't remember what it was called, but they had it behind like the little glass or plastic containers. What else did they have? They had so many freaking super draw and all that crap.
Yep.
Um, last one. There's one about insulin that I just don't want to do. If you're asking about insulin, don't even start it if you have these questions of how and when to start using insulin. Um, favorite TV show at the moment?
I have been watching, I'm on the last season, sadly, Animal Kingdom on Netflix. It finished a few years ago, but it was really good for the first like 4 seasons. Then it kind of started jumping the shark a little bit. They got guys doing mini guns and crazy bikes all the time now. So it's kind of jumped the shark. But another one that I feel like not enough people nowadays watch is Mad Men on HBO.
Never seen either of them.
Never seen either of those.
Oh,
I've heard of Mad Men. I've heard of it. Never seen it. I'm sure now, honestly, when did that come out?
I think it was like this,
It's like
the 80s, 90s.
it was one of those things where when I first saw it come out, I was not old enough to appreciate it, and so I might in my later years check that out.
Hmm.
I would love to watch more TV, man. And maybe this is an excuse. I got kids and businesses and Jet.
Bluey,
That's yeah. There we go. My kid,
good.
you know, my kid watches the Wild. Actually, Wild Kratts is not a bad show. I learned something every time I watch it.
You need to get your kids watching Zaboomafoo.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's the same guys.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know that.
No, dude,
Wait, what
it's
is it?
absolutely yeah. So the Wild Kratts. It's on PBS
Wild
Kids.
Kratts.
It's actually solid.
Oh.
It's the same dudes who did Zabumafu. It's a full
Oh,
circle.
okay, yeah, yeah. I've seen this. Okay.
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
Um,
I
yeah, they're
actually
watch there's watching some other one. I can't remember the name now, but it looks weird. Like man, I wish I could remember. Um,
my
yeah.
oldest one likes Odd Squad. You seen that one? Joe's like,
I've never heard of any of these.
yeah.
She,
Well, I've never heard of Animal Kingdom,
No.
Joe. So,
my girlfriend,
Odds-
Montessori teacher, she had
Wait a
to
minute.
tell me what the heck Miss Rachel was. I have no idea.
yeah,
There you go, Joe.
Odd
Start
Squad.
watching that. That's a
Yeah, I
fight the
watched
cast.
Wizards of Waverly Place when I was a kid.
Oh, man.
Hey, my daughter. There's a new rendition of that my daughter's watched. So,
Oh, okay.
uh,
A little bit of connection across the
exactly.
years.
Yep. Yep. I did pop a couple episodes of Gen V, which
Yep.
is boys spinoff. Not bad. It's all right.
Yeah, that one's good. I started watching Tires.
What's that?
It's the Shane Gillis one that's on Netflix. It's like a dude, freaking funny. They're like 20-minute episodes, so it's great.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's pretty good humor, pretty dark
Is it
humor.
like like one of those like sketch comedies, or like is it like just a stand up? Like what is it?
Uh, it's just a comedy series that is this one.
Okay, thanks.
But yeah, it's like a little I don't know what they're called, series, TV
I
shows.
like that type of that type is just pretty funny. Yeah. Usually it's like some sort of they're like some sort. It's almost not The Office, but they all work in like the same type place, and
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but good cast of characters. I think they're freaking funny. But I like the shorter episodes because like my attention span is like I got to go do something else. So if it's 20 minutes, man, I can like easily do it as I cook food and eat food, and then boom, I'm done. So
So he's
Don't
identified as autistic and ADHD kind of guy.
I think they have a term for that. It's like AUHD, autistic, ADHD. There's a term
OCD
for it now. I've seen it.
and OCD, and
Dude,
I got to
some
put
people are
all
gonna
the
need a
letters
whole
in
lot of.
order.
We're gonna need a whole movement for all these letters we're gonna have.
Well, they call themselves, we're neurospicy,
Yeah, hey, oh,
Real
there you go.
spicy. There you go.
not neurodivergent or neurotypical. We're
Neuros.
neurospicy.
That's great. Um, I like
That's
that.
gonna be one of the flavors of one of the new like flavor gang things, neuro spicy. Again.
It'll be a new peptide.
Yeah.
What are you using? Neurospicy.
We've got a blend of like dihexa and C-Max.
Yeah.
But I mean, one's an oral and one's a nasal, but
But you also the spicy, you need like a little trend dropped in there and some other.
A little bit of YK11 or something.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's not going to be a nasal spray or injection. It's a suppository. Like I
Ooh.
I want it to work right away.
ooh, now you're talking about language here, Andrew.
Oh, man. Okay. Um, that's all I got for you. I didn't want to answer the insulin one. I don't think insulin's bad. I just looking at the dude's profile, I don't want to like encourage this person to use insulin. So insulin's
I
totally
use
fine.
quite a
I think it's
bit,
great.
but also I wouldn't tell someone to use it unless they're at a certain level of advancement
Yeah.
and they have a consistent diet, they're eating at a consistent time, they're having consistent training sessions, they have set meals that they're not doing like if it fits your macros, because eating like a certain amount of carbs from rice versus cereal versus dates, you need different insulin for all of those. So unless you're pretty locked into the lifestyle already, you shouldn't be messing with it.
Yeah, I think that's where you have to find a coach. Like work with the coach first, and then once the coach says, "Hey, like yeah, we could use some insulin," that's great.
Yep.
I find too many people just they listen to these podcasts that talk about insulin and generalities or what they specifically do for their clients or themselves, and then they go and they try it, and then now you have this huge debate about Lantus and Rapid and all these things, and it's like everyone is so different and everyone has a different purpose of using it. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I think people get way too confused, but individuality is where it shines. And I love it. I think it's great. Um, but not for this fellow that's asking. So yeah.
I wanted to shame them now, but I also don't want to shame them for asking a question. We just say we want to answer it.
No, don't shame him. He's paid me for consultation.
Oh, okay. Then you make great financial decisions.
Yeah. Just consult with me again. All right, that's it, boys. Thank you for coming on, Jack. Great.
Jack, come on, that was fun.
Yeah. I can next time you're on, I can ask you different questions to see if you are healthy or not. Pretty much it's like a
Jack's one of the
like
healthiest guys I know. I'm a meathead. He's a healthy meathead.
well, I mean it's kind of different. Are you healthy questions? So it's like, how long do you brush your teeth? Stuff like
Oh.
that. Where there's
I
like
go, yeah.
He asked me about my
go
tooth.
by the buzzes. I have a toothbrush that has 4 buzzes, 30-minute buzzes per.
30-minute buzzes.
I'm 30 seconds. I'm sorry, 30 seconds.
Like, are you brushing your teeth for 2 hours there?
Yep.
yeah, they say it's supposed to be between 2 to 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was
My
like,
electric one
dude,
just
when I found
turns
that out, I
off
was like,
after a
holy
certain
crap.
time.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty big on oral hygiene. It's actually one of my favorite like topics. Yeah, and I actually had some receding gum because I started brushing so hard because I wanted my teeth to be so good. Yeah, I don't want a little aggro on it.
Mm.
Get all of my enamel off, get all that yellow off. Now it's all white.
That's what I'm saying,
All
man.
right. Cool, man. We'll do this another day and talk to you guys later.
Totally. Good.